got my big drink of water and a boba for fun. The reason why I look like this is because it is officially hot. It is hot, guys, okay? It already feels like summer, and it's not even summer yet, okay? I don't know what's going on. But hello everyone, welcome back to another video, okay? It's your girl Riley. Today I kind of wanted to do a little let's talk video because I like doing these, even though sometimes I could get hate for the things I say, but no worries, I take it easily now, okay? I've gotten so used to the hate that I get that I just like, whatever, you know? I do have a pretty big feeling though. This video is probably gonna give me a lot of hate because it does cover up topics about LGBTQ plus religion, which is not a conversation I wish to have right now, but I just felt like it, you know? I've been meaning to get to this conversation for a while and I just like never did. I think because I was scared of the hate I would get, but I've just come to terms with it. I'm like, you know what? I gotta just say it. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about my experiences. So you guys saw the title, okay? I want to tell you guys about my experience being a closeted trans girl going to church. Now, for the record, I just want to say right off the bat, I am not going to say what religion I'm talking about, nor the name of the church or any names of any people. So we're going to keep that out of that, okay? I don't want people to be sending hate to certain groups of people, a certain religion, because of me, okay? I don't want that. So I want to say like around the time that I had barely kind of come out to my parents. I think I did come out to my parents around this time, but I didn't publicly come out comfortably yet. So therefore, I wasn't necessarily like out the way I am now. When I was basically closeted, right, I was, you know, before I'd self-discovered as a full-on girl, okay? If you guys don't remember, when I first did publicly come out, I did come out as gender fluid at the time, so things were a little different back then than they were like now, but you know, this is still just my experience. So around the time after that I came out and stuff, me and my mom became pretty close with a couple people who basically worked for a church, and you know, these people were like great, like they were nice and stuff. Like I actually got along with them, and I can honestly truthfully say that I became great friends with these people, you know? Like I loved these people so much. It was this group of girls and they were just so sweet. They were really nice and they were just fun to talk with, and I even found myself being really comfortable talking with them about literally anything, right? Of course, we started getting a little too close to them to the point where they kind of wanted us to start going to church with them, and me and my mom and my sister, of course, we were kind of like, we don't know if we want to go to church or not, because for starters, I mean, we don't know anyone else other than these people that we've met. And we also don't know what it's like, because I mean, technically this was a different religion than what we grew up with, you know what I mean? Being Mexican, I did grow up Catholic, so, and I still have a lot of my Catholic beliefs, so you know, it's just, you know, I don't go to church anymore, you know. I can't even say that I go to Catholic church because I truthfully don't, you know, but you know, it's just, it was a different religion. It was different, you know, the vibe was different. Everything was just like, it was brand new to us, so we didn't know what we were expecting, you know? So one day they did convince us to go to church, and it was mainly just to like visit for the first time. So we were going and we had a good time. It was really fun, and then we actually started, you know, going to church every single Sunday. Now at this point I wasn't yet awkward or felt uncomfortable, because technically speaking, nothing had really intercome with me being a closeted trans girl that was affecting my thoughts on like what this church believes in or anything like that. It wasn't until we were officially like pretty much became members of the church, that's how much it got, by the way, that's how close we got, that we eventually became members, all right, that I started feeling really uncomfortable. So for starters, I was obviously, you know, closeted and stuff, so everyone saw me as a guy, everyone saw me as a man. And so being in church, well, at least with this specific religion, I'm not speaking for all churches, but being in this church, the men and women get separated for different things. You know, the men usually have their own services that they do, the women have their own. And so my mom and my sister were obviously put into where the women do their services, and everything that the women have to do, my mom and sister were chosen to do those things. I was the one who got put with the men. So at this point, this is kind of where it kind of ruined it for me, all right? Because I did not feel comfortable at all. For starters, let me just tell you, they put me in a room with all the other men, right? All the other men of the church. I was the only person in that room who was young, okay? I was the only person around my age who was, you know, young. And I just felt so weird because like everyone, all the other guys, it was like the dads, the grandpas, you know, like it was like, you know, middle-aged grown men, you know? And I just felt uncomfortable because I was like, you know, in my head, the way I felt about my identity, about who I am. And I was separated from women and put with men because that's the way they saw me. And I had talked with my mom about this, saying like, Mom, I don't feel comfortable being put with the men, because at the time my mom knew about me, but the world didn't. So I'm like, you know, I don't feel comfortable. I don't like being put specifically with the men because they see me as a man. They always required like all these different things for like, you know, the men and women to do. However, the men always did a lot more things than the women did. So they always wanted me to do certain things that I didn't feel comfortable doing. Not because like it goes against who I am, but it's just because like it makes me feel uncomfortable knowing that you're telling me like you have to do this because this is what the men do. You're a man, you have to do these things. This is how the church is run because, you know, the men do this stuff. And so I didn't want to do any of that stuff. And, you know, I just, you know, I explained to them because they also told us, because obviously like they didn't want us to feel uncomfortable being new. They did tell us a lot that if you don't feel comfortable doing a certain thing, you don't have to do it. Just say so. You're not going to be forced to do anything. And so every time I would explain to them that like, you know, I don't feel comfortable doing these types of things, sometimes they wouldn't really listen and they would still try to force me to do things. But I personally, I didn't want to, okay? And let me just tell you, it wasn't bad things. Like it truly wasn't. Like I'm making it sound like it's shady, but it wasn't anything bad, okay? It wasn't. But for me, I just didn't really feel like doing any of these things. I didn't feel comfortable doing these things. And there were certain things that they wanted me to do that even my own mom told me and told them she's not doing these things, okay? Like my mom literally told them like, I don't want my daughter doing these things, okay? And even I told her I don't want to do these things. So she told me don't do those things, right? And, you know, I was just like, I don't want to do certain things, you know? And it was mainly because of the fact that like they were making it seem like, well, the men have to do these things, so like, you know, she has to do these things. I just felt really uncomfortable, obviously because I was closeted. So it's like I didn't know what to do. Like I was trapped in my own head. I was like, I haven't come out to these people, like nobody in this church knows. And also I was scared because like, you know, when you think of a church and you're LGBTQ plus, okay, I know not everyone thinks this way, but like for us LGBT people, when we think of church and religion, we get a little scared, okay? I'll be honest, I get a little scared because, you know, homophobia, transphobia is such a scary thing to me, and I just didn't know how these people were gonna react to me being trans and, you know, being, you know, basically gay and stuff. Like I didn't know how these people were gonna take it, you know? So for a while we did leave the church and we did just like, you know, leave things off where they were, and we just went back to living our regular lives before we even got involved with the church and stuff. And around this time, around this break, was the point where I publicly came out. So I officially transitioned. I expressed myself. I do my makeup, I wear earrings, I do my hair the way I want, my nails. I expressed myself in the way that I wanted to during this break. And it was during this break that some of the members of the church would still check on us, because even though like there were no hard feelings with these people, let me just say there were no hard feelings. We didn't get in a fight with anyone. We didn't do anything bad to any of these people, say anything. So it's like we kind of just like slowly just like left the church in a way. you know, but some of the people still cared about us, so they would check on us, and like, you know, they would still come visit us, they would call us, like, just to make sure we're okay, you know. And it was during this time that some of those people would come over and they would see me and they would start to slowly piece things together. And at one point, one of them actually asked the question, "Are you gay?" And I told her, I was like, you know what, I wouldn't say that, but I am a part of the community. Okay, that's where I left it off. I didn't explain that I'm trans. I didn't explain what specific sexuality I am. I just said I'm a part of the community, if that makes it any better. And at this time, I was slightly scared because, again, I don't know how these people are going to react. You know, these people are way more religious than I am. So I'm like, I don't know how they're going to take it. I was a little scared. However, it kind of shocked me that these people accepted me so well. These people were so, like, kind to me and so accepting of it that, you know, eventually we did end up going back to church on a Sunday. And I'll be honest, I went dressed appropriate for church. I did. I really did. But I also went as myself. So, you know, I was still dressed appropriate, like, to go to church, but I was being myself. I wasn't pretending anymore like I was at first when I would dress kind of like a dude, just to not give out any hints. At this point, when we went back to church, I dressed as myself. Plain and simple, you know? And I was still a little nervous. I was still a little scared because, you know, the first time when the lady asked me if I was gay, this happened here in my house. When I went to church, I was in the church. When people had to look at me, had to realize, oh my gosh, she's queer, you know? Like, it was inside of a church that it happened, where I basically came out to people from church, inside of church. I was scared. I was terrified. I was like, I hope they don't throw me out. I hope nobody comes up and like says something against me, or like they don't go up in front of the service and like has to say something to like basically point fingers or like say something obvious. I was genuinely surprised and so grateful that everyone in the church who saw me and said hi to me and like welcomed me back to church, everyone was so nice about it. Everyone was so accepting. It was literally me and my sister sitting next to each other, and this lady that we hadn't even really talked to before, like when we would go to church regularly with my mom, this lady came up to us, hugged both of us because she missed us, and she even told me how pretty I look and that she loves the new me. And I felt so beautiful because of that. Like, it made me feel so good. And she even told my sister, she literally told her, now you have a twin, which I thought was like, I thought that was the sweetest thing ever. And no, I don't look at all like my sister, so like, you know, I don't know what that means, but you guys get what she means, right? Like, now my sister has a sister who can join her at church, basically. So people were so nice to me. Like, people were really accepting. Not one person even looked at me in a weird way. Actually, that's not true. There was a boy who I thought was cute in church, and he did kind of give me a weird look, so that one kind of hurt. You know, other than that, like everyone else that we have known before there, everyone was just so accepting. Nobody had a problem with it. Nobody said anything. Everyone just welcomed me back and looked at me like if they were happy I was back. Like, that was the one thing that mattered to them, was that I was back. That was all that mattered to them. They don't even care that like it's a new me. Like, I went to church, yeah, dressed regularly in like my own sense of like appropriate church wear, but I would still represent me, you know? Like, I wouldn't filter myself in a way where it's like, I don't want people to know this about me. At this point, even till today, you guys already know, I don't care what people think about me. I go dressed as myself anywhere. So it's like, you know, it was a really nice thing for me. So nice so that even some of the girls like around my age, they would compliment my nails all the time, and they would always tell me if I ever want nail polish because they have some that they don't use anymore. So it was just so sweet to me. Like, it was so nice, so kind and loving. And I don't know, like I feel bad because I don't go as much anymore, but you know, it's such a nice thing for me to know that, like, you know, my experience with being a trans girl in church has been such a good positive experience. Because I know a lot of people think that, like, when it comes to like the LGBTQ and religion and stuff, they don't really go well together, and I understand because I've heard stories, I've seen stuff, okay, I understand, all right, but this is just my personal experience. I'm not out here saying, like, you know, religion people do love you and like get along together. I mean, I wish people would get along, but you know, I can't say for everyone, okay? I'm only saying from my personal experience. And you know what, maybe some of these people have thoughts of what I look like now. Maybe they do have thoughts, but you know what, they do what everyone should do. They keep to themselves, and that's where I leave it off. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video of me talking about my experience being a trans girl in church. If you guys did like it, then please make sure to leave it a like, and please make sure to subscribe to your girlie because it does help her out, okay? We are so close to 700 subscribers, guys. We're so close. I can feel it. If you guys would like to check out any other videos, you guys can check out my videos on my channel here. You can watch like my vlogs and stuff, my other random talk videos, makeup videos. I want to start doing those again. The last one I did was pretty good, pretty successful for the amount of views that I typically get. So thank you guys so much for watching those, and also thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.